in order for you to actually get to the health and the physique that you want, you're going to have to stop dieting for a little bit. Your food is more than just calories in versus calories out. Your body needs nutrients, enough calories and energy to function properly. So when your body doesn't have enough energy and nutrients to function, of course, they're going to start down regulating. Welcome back to another episode of the Logically Fit podcast. I'm your host. If you're new here, my name is Cee Miller. I'm one of the co-hosts of the podcast here. I'm right now writing solo in this mini series that we're doing, and this is going to be part 2. And the theme of these series is going along with what we're doing with a lot of our clients and also people within the Stress Reset cohort right now. And it's all about how we can use our food, movement, the lifestyle and the habits that we keep to help us manage our stress better, become more resilient to stress. It's not just about reducing stress. I know that a lot of people are just like, just reduce stress, but there's things that you can do through your health and fitness to make you more resilient to stress so things don't impact you as much, but also reduce inflammation and a lot of the negative side effects that comes with somebody that is chronically stressed, or somebody that's adrenal dysfunction, or another way of saying it is HPA dysfunction, right? So if you're in that situation, listen up, because every single episode, I'm going to go through different things that you can do that are very practical, very simple, not always easy, but extremely, extremely effective to help you not only see the results that you want physically, but fall in love with the person that you're becoming. You're more resilient to stress. You're mentally more productive, you're emotionally more stable, like you're a better person to the people that count on you, but also you deserve to be your best self too. It's not just about other people, it's also about you. So with that being said, the first thing that I'm going to start with is actually something that not a lot of people think about, or maybe they understand it, but they don't really know how to apply it, or it's kind of a mental loop for some people, especially my chronic dieters, the people that jump from one diet to another, or another trend to another, or somebody that's never actually sat down and was educated about this stuff. If you are somebody who might be like, yeah, I'm kind of one of those people, then listen up, because one of the things that you actually need to do, and this is the mental loop, is that in order for you to actually get to the health and the physique that you want, you're going to have to stop dieting for a little bit. Right? Or for somebody that maybe not intentionally dieting, if you are somebody that accidentally skips meals because you get busy, or you don't have an appetite, that's also a side effect of being chronically stressed, or you just don't pay attention to things, like don't have a system, you don't pay attention to how you're eating or how much you're eating in the day, that can lead to some days being very low, some days it's being too high, skipping meals, so you're going long periods of time without eating, right? What we want to do is consistently eat enough food every single day to be able to function properly as a human being, right? Your food is more than just calories in versus calories out. Your body needs nutrients to function properly. It also needs enough calories and energy to function properly. So it's not just like, hey, let me just have energy throughout the day. Your adrenal system, so your hormones, need enough fuel every single day to function. Your gut, your brain, right? That's why when people are dieting or chronic undereaters, they typically don't have a lot of energy, don't have a lot of motivation, like emotional regulation is very low. They typically struggle with anxiety and depression a little bit more. I mean, it's not just solely this, but like when your body doesn't have enough energy and nutrients to function, of course, they're going to start down regulating. And this is also a big thing with our metabolism, our metabolic health. This is also a big reason why so many people that start with us, when they start with us, they start eating more. It's because we need to increase our metabolic health. We also need to reduce that chronic stress the body is under. So that way the functions within your body actually work optimally. So your gut health, liver, digestion, like your hormones, your ability to build muscle tissue. When we're functioning properly, it's actually going to start like revving up a little bit more. You're going to burn some more calories. So that way, when people are actually eating more and they're managing their stress, their body's feeling loved, that it actually starts functioning properly. It starts burning more calories, is actually more likely to build muscle, more likely to lose fat, but also you have more energy, more motivation, you have more emotional regulation, so you're less likely to snack here and there or cope with the feelings that you have with food or alcohol or other means, right? So it just sets up the whole, like it just builds such a solid foundation for people, right? And so that's one of the biggest things that we do with a lot of our clients is making sure that before they even diet, right? They need to set a solid foundation to make sure that they are not chronically stressed. They have a good metabolic health, and they also have habits, they have the systems, everything in place before going into it. Right. So if you're looking to, like, you feel like there's a lot of friction to seeing the results, this is actually probably one of the biggest things that you need to stop doing is stop trying to go from diet to diet or try to fast or try to skip meals or avoid forgetting to eat. That's a big thing for a lot of people I work with. Like, we work with a lot of healthcare workers and they're always on the go and they just forget to eat. And that's one of the things that we really have to work with them and finding a system that works for them. So that way they still eat throughout the day, because going long bouts of time without eating, not good for them mentally or physically, especially if they do it chronically over a period of time. And a lot of healthcare workers, it's not just about them. Like, literally, I have clients where they are in positions where if they're not mentally present, it's life and death situations. They got people on the table. They've got to be present. So that's such a huge tool, is making sure that we're not dieting all the time. Now, dieting is not a bad thing. Going in a calorie deficit is not a bad thing. Going in a calorie surplus and trying to build muscle tissue is not a bad thing. But again, going back to the analogy from episode number 1, is that you're in a place where you're rolling in debt and now we're trying to get in a calorie deficit. Now you're pulling more, like you're just getting yourself out into debt more, right? By making sure that we're not chronically dieting, we're eating enough food, our systems within our body are functioning properly, we're pulling ourselves out of debt. So that way, when we actually pull out of the bank account, we're not rolling in debt again. We have a system that's constantly pouring back in. So that way we keep a healthy bank account and it doesn't negatively affect us mentally or physically in the long run. So maintenance calories is something that's so important to be consistent at majority of the time, whether you're tracking or not. And I highly suggest, if you've never tracked consistently and never hit like maintenance calories for more than 3 to 6 months, like, seriously, if you pair that with a really great strength training program, you pair that with a really good nutrition program, you figure out how to manage your stress better, like really build big habits, like, you do not need to be in a calorie deficit to see some really great changes within your body. Like, that's why so many of our clients, before they even go dieting, like, their body composition night and day difference. And it's because the body is actually just functioning properly instead of just constantly restricting it and depriving it. It doesn't work that way. Dieting is not a lifestyle. It is something that can temporarily be done effectively, but you do not want to be in there all the time, right? That's an every once in a while thing, maybe once or twice a year. Except for those that are chronically obese or have a lot of weight to lose. There's a little bit of different wiggle room with that. And as coaches, we have to do play by ear a little bit more and make sure that we're paying attention to the signals the body gives. That means that it's still in a healthier state, not in a stress state. It's an oversimplified way of saying it, but not in a stress state. So that's a little bit of the gray area, but majority of the time people should be in a calorie deficit maybe once a year or twice a year at most, for anywhere from 6 to like 14, 16 weeks. Like, it just depends on the person and their body and where they're starting at. So, which can be a huge mental loop for a lot of people. I've worked with people that were chronically only eating 12 to 1400 calories. And the idea of eating more calories was just like crazy. Like, they're like, I get it. Like, I understand. You explained it really well, how the body's supposed to work. And I get that chronically under eating is the reason why I'm losing hair and I don't feel good and my thyroid is crap and I'm gaining weight no matter how much I work out and no matter how healthy I am, I'm either staying stagnant or gaining weight. And it's like, you can't diet forever, just like you would never want your child to undereat for a long period of time, because they'd start getting sick more, injured more, they'd be secluding themselves more, like they wouldn't be performing well in life, and you become seriously like worried about them if they're eating a 12 to 1400 calorie diet. And it's like, then why would you let yourself do it too? Like, you're no different. If anything, you're more than likely going to be bigger than them in size, because you're a full grown adult and they're smaller kids, except for some teenagers now are just like ginormous. They like just grow so big. I don't get it. Anyways, a little rabbit hole there. They just grow so big. But most of the time you require more calories and you have more responsibilities, right? Like, you can't just stop everything in life and just be able to cruise control through it while you're going through a calorie deficit. Like, that needs to be something that needs to be done every so often. It needs to be smart. You need to go into the smallest calorie deficit as possible, right? And then you need to get out of there as fast as possible, because if you're chronically under eating, not great. right? That's also goes to, again, it's not just dieters. For people that honestly have never paid attention to how much food that they've actually are eating in the day, just like people that have never actually tracked their financial metrics, like how do you know if you are eating enough? How do you know? Right? How do you know if you're spending a certain things? How many times have you been like a month or two going through, you forget to track your finances and you're like, I think I'm doing great. Like, I don't think I'm overspending on these things, or I feel like I'm saving this money. And then you actually go to look at your expenses and it's like a whole nother story. There's like subscriptions that you forgot about. You're spending this money on here. You forget about this bill here. You're frivolously spending on coffee, just talking from personal experience a little bit there. Right. But you don't know until you know. Like, what doesn't get tracked doesn't get managed. So if you're somebody that's never actually accurately tracked your food, if you never had somebody actually help you figure out your maintenance, which by the way, if you use MyFitnessPal or even Chronometer, that's the tracking app that we really love. If you use those, I guarantee you more than likely they are not accurate. They're probably way under calculating for you. So if you haven't worked with somebody one-on-one to help you figure out your maintenance calories, I would highly suggest that. We also have like, we share a guide about this. I can actually share it down below that teaches you how to actually find your own personalized maintenance calories. It's not as simple as A plus B equals C. You're a complex human being. That it takes more than just that. That's why hiring a coach might be something that might be beneficial. Or if you're willing to do the legwork, there's a guy that like teaches you all how to do it down below as well. But more times than not, most people are either under eating or widely overeating. And so we want to make sure that we are bringing it into the middle and being consistent on maintenance calories majority of the time, right? That's going to help fuel your body, help it optimize everything, but it also is going to support other things that we need to work on in order to manage your stress, which I'll go into in other episodes. Right. But that's the foundation, is like, if you're not eating enough, I don't care how healthy of the foods that you're eating. I don't care how many supplements that you're taking, how much you practice meditation or anything like that. If you're chronically under eating or somebody that skips meals a lot or fasts a lot, that's very, very stressful on the body. And we need to put that on pause and just throw some love into the body and just get consistent at eating enough every single day. But this also allows you to really focus on the systems that you have. Like when you look at people that don't really track, but they're consistently maintaining their physique, they're consistently eating healthy, it's because they have systems in place. Just like when people can, like, they have a system in place when tracking finances. They don't have to look at their spending every single day or weekly. It's because they're like, I know my systems. I know that if I go out to eat maybe once or twice a week, and then I get maybe 3 cups of coffee within the week, and I put this much money into the saving account every single month, and then on Fridays at the first of the month, I pay off this bill. Like, they have all these systems in place through trial and error that keeps them accountable without having to look through every single little thing, spreadsheets or apps or things like that. It's the same thing with your food. You need to start with tracking, then start figuring out a system that works for you. Then you start learning the habits and the systems that really work, that allow you to like repeat every single day without having to pull out your tracking app. So for example, for me, I eat 3 big meals and 1 snack. When I'm trying to be in maintenance, each meal is anywhere from 400 to 500 calories, and my snack is about 400 calories, right? I track it once, I figure out my go-to meals, and I do that there. I mean, I have other systems in place with my food as well, but like, that's just a rough estimate. Like, if I'm in a calorie deficit, I do something very similar. I just drop the calories a little bit, but like, I eat 3 meals and 1 snack. I generally stay at a certain time, which is a little bit of a fun fact, is repeating the times that you eat. Your gut works on a circadian rhythm, just like you work on a circadian rhythm with your sleep. So finding a system and routine of the times that you eat throughout the day and repeating that, you don't have to be perfect, but like generally repeating that every single day will actually support some really, really great gut health and reduce bloating, inflammation, things like that. So that's a little bit of a rabbit hole there. But these episodes are way longer than 5 to 10 minutes long, but I am loving these episodes. So maybe it's going to be about like 10 to 20 minutes long. That's still shorter than a lot of podcast episodes out there. And I feel like this is still doable for us. But in episode number 2, we're going to go into the next topic. So stay tuned. But this is part 2 of, I don't even know how many episodes, but we're going to go through all the things that I can think about that will help you manage your stress, balance out your cortisol, reduce inflammation, all the negative side effects that comes with chronic stress and things like that, right? So if you have any ideas, questions, comments, concerns, you can always leave it below. Anything that we've talked about here, you can also go into the show notes below and check that out. And also for those of you that are trying to figure out the maintenance calories, I forgot to mention this earlier. You can either use the guide that we have down there, or there is a simple like calculator that you can use. I will link the calculator that we really use. There's a specific equation that's going to be the most accurate one. For the life of me, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it is going to be the most accurate one. When we're looking at the research, this is the one that's going to be the most consistent. It's not going to be 100% accurate. That's why working with a coach and doing trial and error might be something that's super helpful if you don't feel like you can do it on your own. But again, the guide below that I'm linking is going to be pretty freaking accurate. It's pretty much what we do with every single one of our clients. So if you want to do the legwork for yourself, you can do it there. Other than that, see you next episode. Bye, guys.